Welcome back. Just moments ago, these pictures coming in from London, where Prince William has just arrived with his cavalcade of Range Rovers for his first public event since the King was diagnosed with cancer.
Well, let's bring in Associate Editor at the Daily Mirror, Russell Myers, for more on that now. Russell, thanks for your time. There is so much resting on Prince William's shoulders, as we know, today being his big outing. What are we going to expect from the fundraising gala tonight?
Well, morning, guys. Well, isn't there? I mean, you know, Prince William finds himself very much at the centre of the monarchy after Princess of Wales's abdominal surgery, now the King's cancer diagnosis. But tonight is all about celebrating charity fundraisers, an important event for the London Air Ambulance. And it calls very, very close to William's heart. He was a former air ambulance pilot himself a few years ago. So going to be raising money to try and get some new helicopters, save some lives, and great to see William back out in force today.
Look, for one frightening moment there, I thought Sarah was saying that he was coming out after his big outing. That would have been a significant story. Look, William is set to make a speech there tonight. You'd think that he would address the King's diagnosis, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I don't think he'll address the diagnosis. I mean, I think he will acknowledge that, you know, it's been a pretty testing time for him and his family over the last few weeks. So the Royals don't really like to sort of detract from these big charity events. So very much the focus on the people in the room. But yeah, I think he'll say, listen, it's been a pretty testing time.
I guess what he mentions today will probably be the last that we hear about the King's diagnosis for some time, because William is going to be busy in these next few days. How do you think he's going to handle all that pressure?
Well, he's going to be busy at home because it's the kids' half-term next week. So he's going to be taking that off to look after the children. Obviously, Princess Kate is still recuperating at home. I think it'd be back to a fuller schedule week after next. As I said, very much at the centre. A lot resting on his shoulders, isn't there? The King is going to be off for an extended period of time. We don't still know the severity of his illness or indeed the treatment plan. But we do know that William is definitely going to be stepping up. He's going to have more duties, more things to look after, not only for his own role, but for the King's as well. So listen, it's been a very fast-moving few days, and I think that's going to carry on through.
Talk about fast-moving. Geez, Harry got out of town quick.
Yeah.
Well, he did. I mean, I was looking at the clock earlier. It was just a little over 24 hours. I mean, he flew sort of 8,000 kilometres or miles, and he spent only half an hour with his father. Now, I understand that the King was feeling a little tired, and you can well imagine why. Started his cancer treatment on Monday. But gosh, I mean, that does really tell you sort of the fractiousness of the relationship. And whether Harry will come back and forth, I don't know. But I'm not too sure whether it's the green shoots of a relationship, to be honest.
No, it's not quite unbelievable. Why would he get out of there so quickly? I mean, half an hour with his dad, despite him being tired, surely you'd put in a bit more time.
Well, you think so. I mean, the only good thing is probably his air miles at the moment. He's just sort of flown in and flown out. Listen, I think that the King is tired. He's gone back to Sandringham to rest and recuperate. We expect him back to London weekly to have these appointments. Whether Harry and him can even sort of repair the relationship. He didn't see Prince William. I was told that William had no plans to see him. So again, that speaks volumes, doesn't it?
Still a little bit of a shock for everyone, isn't it? And I'm sure it is for inside the family as well.
Well, very much so. I mean, what a few weeks. We were just expecting sort of a bit of downtime, coming sort of looking forward to the new year, straight out of Christmas. You know, big tours on the horizon. Canada, the Wales is going to Italy. Us lot coming to see you down under. I mean, is that on the rocks now? I'd be sort of devastated personally if it was, but it's all about getting the King better, very much focused on Kate's recovery as well. And I think maybe in the coming weeks and months, things will come a little clearer.
Very good, Rusty. Thank you so much, mate.
Thanks,
appreciate it. Well, Prince William is wasting no time getting back to royal duty, as you've heard, rubbing shoulders with Hollywood's elite Tom Cruise at a charity event.
Let's bring in Camilla, Tominey, Associate Editor of the Telegraph. Camilla, it's mission impossible for William. He's doing all he can at the moment.
Sarah, that is too good, honestly.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, it's mission impossible. You're quite right. I think William is stuck a little bit between a rock and a hard place because on one hand, he wants to prioritise immediate family. He had said that he wanted to be by Kate's side and the children while she recuperates from her own abdominal surgery. But at the same time, of course, as the King's liege man of life and limb, that was the pledge he made to him at the coronation last year, he has to be the first in support as heir to the throne. So I think it is tricky. What's been interesting, actually, from kind of what the palace has been saying in recent times, initially when this announcement was made on Monday, obviously most journalists were sort of saying William needs to step up to the plate. And then we've kind of been briefed that he's not necessarily going to do that, because it seems as if the king is the one who has advised him to prioritise his wife. So we are going to see him taking on a few more engagements, but he's still going to be focusing his own projects, the Earthshot Prize and the stuff he's been doing on homelessness and mental health. So it's not as if he's suddenly going to be stepping into the breach. And I think, of course, the palace keep on insisting that the king is going to be able to carry on with as much work behind closed doors as he can. The reason he's not public facing is that they're worried, because he's undergoing this treatment, that he doesn't want to be pressing the flesh with members of the public, because obviously that might compromise his immunity while he's having what will be, you know, pretty serious cancer treatment.
I have to say this, that William looks very settled in that role and very comfortable with it. What are you reading into the king saying, hey, you don't need to do so much?
Well, I think it's interesting that we have on one hand Prince Harry talking about genetic and generational pain and how he wanted to break the cycle. And he said that his father and his brother were trapped in the monarchy. Clearly the messages come from king to son, eldest son, that actually it's okay to prioritise your wife. It's okay to put immediate family ahead of the family firm. That, to me, is kind of much more modern than the picture that has been drawn by Harry and Meghan. So in that regard, I think most people watching and listening to this will be thinking to themselves, well, probably that is reflective of modern values, right? If his wife has undergone a major operation and they've got 3 school-aged children, then his priorities probably do lie at home. However, I think the palace is slightly under-egging how grueling this treatment is going to be for the king. I mean, at the moment, I think it's hugely admirable to be saying he'll continue with his red boxes, his affairs of state. But I think anyone that has had cancer treatment or knows someone who has had cancer treatment knows how unpredictable it can be, how the side effects can affect patients. And if it comes to the point where he can't carry out some of this work, I think most people watching will be saying, a 41-year-old man needs to start deputising for his 75-year-old father.
I mean, and that's the thing, isn't it, Camilla? There are so many unknowns to come, but it is blatantly clear now with Harry jetting in and out, for a half-an-hour meeting with his dad, that, you know, William has to do this all on his own.
Well, basically, yeah, and it was in stark sort of technicolor, wasn't it? With this whistle-stop tour once again, Harry flies in, flies out. He has that half-hour meeting with the King and the Queen. They then leave him in London to go to Sandringham. I suppose a lot of people would look at that and go, that's quite strange, but you can't forget that Harry was so critical of the Queen in Spare. I mean, he was really quite nasty about Camilla. She's not going to want to hang around with him. That then puts the King in a difficult position, being between his wife and his younger son. So it's all tricky, but also we hear there was no meeting, no discussion between William and Harry. So this earlier in the week suggestion that maybe this health crisis of the only parent that they have left could bring the brothers back together doesn't seem to have happened at this stage. But I would humbly suggest Harry knows that William's in a difficult position, so he does arguably need that brotherly support more than ever. But we've got a standoff going on where one wants an apology from the other and neither are willing to give it. So let's watch this space.
They're at odds, like the Hatfields and McCoys, those two. And it's sad, actually. Good on you. Thank you so much, Camilla.
Hey there, Today fans. Sarah and...
What's my name again?
Oh my goodness, Carl.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel, though. Subscribe now for more news, special reports, and amazing Aussie stories.
And Carl misbehaving,
Whoa,
of course.
That never happens.
Always happens.
What's she talking about?